They have important applications to sustainability problems. They could transform the lives of poor communities in developing countries. And tomorrow, I think there's going to be a session about new technologies. But just talking about the wireless information and communication technologies with their instant access to information anywhere, anytime, the biotechnology and its impact on agriculture and health, the nanotechnology that I just mentioned with the introduction of new generation of materials with application to solar energy, water purification, health monitoring, and so on, and the space science and technology with its enormous potential to monitor environmental changes and natural resources. The good news is there are a number of countries in the developing world that are investing heavily in these new technologies. Take the ICTs, for example. India is a leading country in software development. Also China, Brazil, even Rwanda is investing very heavily in ICTs and is doing wonderful work there. And my own troubled country, Sudan, is one of the best places in Africa now in terms of ICTs. Biotechnology, we have Brazil, China, South Africa doing extremely well. Nanotechnology, China, India, Brazil, and South Africa. And space science and technology, China, India, Brazil, and Nigeria. So these countries are really coming up now and investing very heavily in these new technologies. So let me now move on to what sort of actions that I feel should be in place in order to address these challenges and to make use of these opportunities. I believe that quality education and research is one of the most fundamental issues facing what I call the S&T lagging countries. These countries need to establish at least one world-class research university in each S&T lagging countries. And this is to set standards for quality and excellence, attract the best and brightest students. And it is important to have these world-class universities because without having a world-class research university, you cannot attract the most talented students, and you cannot engage them in solving practical problems. At the moment in Africa, for example, there are only 5 universities that are listed among the 500 top universities in the world, only 5. 4 of them are in South Africa, and the 5th one is in Egypt. Of equal importance is to reform the teaching methods to produce a new generation of problem-solving scientists. Now, this is not an issue for the developing countries. This is a worldwide issue. And this is where I think the science centers can have an extremely important role. We have to establish links between universities and the science centers and development-oriented research institutions. The second issue is to establish international centers of excellence in sustainability science, especially in the S&T lagging countries. And I'm talking about introducing a new type of international centers of excellence, that type that can actually start to look at the development of innovative, efficient, simple, and affordable technologies that address some of the sustainability problems that I just mentioned, like safe drinking water or renewable energies. Now, this should really be an international effort because it is of benefit both to the north and to the south. And they have to collaborate with governments and private sectors to diffuse and commercialize these proven technologies. Fortunately, we have a number of these international centers of excellence dealing with very specific real-life issues in Africa, and I highlighted yesterday. There is the International Institute for Water and Environmental Engineering in Burkina Faso. I have only listed those that are in the least developed countries. There is the Kigali Institute for Science and Technology in Rwanda, and there is the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology in ECP. Now, these are international centers. They are funded by the international community, and that's why their operation is sustainable. And we need more of them. We need more of them in various issues related to sustainability science. But we also need to establish science centers. There should be a global effort to build new science centers, especially in the S&T lagging countries, most of which do not have such centers. There are only 5 African countries that have science centers. There are 23 science centers in Africa. I learned this yesterday or the day before. 17 of them are in one country, in South Africa. And by contrast, nearly 90% of UK citizens live within 2 hours of a science center. So just imagine the difference. Now, I want to insist that we should try our best to make sure that each country should have at least one science center. Because science centers can play a significant role in informing citizens on cutting-edge science, technology, and innovation, which have the greatest potential to contributing to sustainability problems and the MDGs. Sharing best practices. We have to uncover the best and innovative experiences that exist at the moment in all countries of the world in solving real-life problems. Many of these successful experiences are not made available to the general public. So we need to uncover those. And we need to develop portals of best practices. And here is an area also where we can collaborate with science centers. And to give you an example, our academy in Trieste has for the last 10 years been looking at successful experiences where science and technology has really been applied to solve practical problems. And we compiled over 100 such success stories, written in a very simple language so that everybody can understand. In fact, one of the important books we published is called Dry, Life Without Water, and it is published by the Harvard University Press. And again, it has a collection of these success stories. And I think this is an area that I think the science centers can actually help in developing even further. And finally, I want to look at the merit-based science academies. Well, science academies are largely known as private clubs of very distinguished but very old men are now beginning to transform themselves into dynamic organizations, providing distinct services to policymakers by offering them independent, evidence-based advice on critical sustainability issues, using the best available scientific knowledge, to the S&T community by supporting excellence in research and education, and of equal importance to the general public by promoting science education and the public understanding of science. And this is where I think the academies can work together with the science centers. At the moment, there are about 100 academies of science. The blue color means that a country has an academy. The brown, it means that it doesn't have an academy, and you see that Africa is still a long way to go. And 98 of these academies have got together to form what is known as the Inter-Academy Panel on International Issues. Now, this is an umbrella of 98 merit-based science academies worldwide. In my view, it is one of the most powerful scientific organizations in the world. And you're talking about the best scientists in the world here, not only in the developing world or the advanced countries, but in the whole world.